Hello everyone, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm all about the magic of watercolor today. I'm stamping, watercoloring, and adding just one little technique to make your watercolor flowers really pop. I have pre-stamped some of the large and small outlined poppies from the Poppies Impression stamp set on some watercolor paper. I have a little bit of water in a cup and some paintbrushes. I'm not very technical when it comes to my supplies, so there's probably way better options, but I just use what I have. I also have some carrying watercolor pens. These are the Brush Marker Pros. And I have two colors that I'm using for the background. I'm starting out with the Arctic blue and just creating a wash of color for my entire background. I'm laying down some water first and then tapping on my pen over the top of that water just to kind of create some movement and so I don't get really harsh lines. And then spreading that out with my paintbrush. Really super easy. Now I'm going to come back in with my darker color, which is sapphire blue, and just outline each flower. And my paper is fairly wet. I'm picking up some more water as well and putting that down on the paper and then picking up the pigment from my pen directly. That's another way of using this pigment. You could scribble it on an acrylic block or a laminated sheet of cardstock as a palette. All of those methods work well. I just tend to get a bit lazy and I just pick it up from my pen directly. And I'm just outlining all my flowers, letting the water flow and do its own thing. I'm trying not to control it too much. I just want to see what that watercolor does on its own. I did set that aside and let it dry for a little bit, maybe about 10-15 minutes, and then I pulled out a couple colors for my poppies. This is the soft peach. I think one, it's the lighter of the two, and then also the red color. And I'm just laying down a wash of that soft peach, kind of doing the same technique of putting down water first and then tapping on the ink color. And then I'm using the red to come in and add just spots of red over top that soft peach. I like to see the soft peach kind of come through the background. I don't want to cover everything up, but I do want the red to really be vibrant and pop. So I'm doing this in layers and playing around with how much water I'm using. More water will give you a more muted effect and it'll push that pigment out a lot more. You don't have as much control over it. Less water will make it more intense and it'll kind of stay in its place. So I'm playing with both of those, kind of creating a lots of variation of color and then coming back in and adding more of that peach. I really like the combo of peachy colors with reds. It's my favorite. I don't know if poppies come in this color. They may, but it's a color combo that makes me happy. And so I think you could do this with any color combo that would make you happy. It'd be fun to see blues, purples, yellows. I don't know, just have fun, kind of create your own poppy universe. I just continued on with this watercolor process and did all of the poppies in the background. And then set that aside to dry. You want to make sure that this is really dry before we move on to our little hack to really make these colors pop. So here's what it looks like after it's all nice and dry. Now I grabbed some distress inks and I'm going to use that ink blending to really grab the watercolor edges and then also bump up the vibrancy of the colors of the flowers. Watercolor tends to get really muted for me and I'm a little scared to really amp that up. I'm really practicing on that, but this is an easy way for anybody to really amp up and pop those watercolor colors in a very simple way. And I'm just doing a light ink blending. I don't want to lose the watercolor look, so I'm just being very light-handed with my little finger brushes and just adding hints of the colors over the top. For the peachy color, I'm using this is dried marigold. I have festive berries for the pinkish red, and for the blue and the vignette around the panel, I'm using faded jeans. And I'm just being, again, light-handed with this and just deepening that shadow around the edge of the panel. I am going to die cut this down again. I did not like the size of it, so I will die cut this down. So I am pulling that color in a little bit more because I know I will be die cutting it. And then to really make everything pop, this is just another added level to your card. Grab a white pen and add some dots and lines. You can use the lines in the poppy stamp to kind of highlight those, add some dots to the center of the flowers, and then just some little highlight lines. I die cut this down, and then I'm going to add some white splatters. This is actually just an old spray bottle that I put some white acrylic paint in, added some water, and I just use that to splatter. I have a black card base and die cut out a white scalloped rectangle, and then popped up my watercolor panel in the middle with some foam tape. Next, I grabbed the sentiment from So Kind, So Caring, So You. I like this blocky happy birthday sentiment. It's perfect for the focal point of the card. Stamp that out with VersaFine Clear ink and then trim those down with my paper trimmer, just so I have a very small white border. Added some foam tape behind that, and I'm going to use this little area of the stamp background that's kind of open. I'm going to put my sentiment right there, add a few white sequins to finish everything off. And I really love how these watercolor flowers just really pop. And it was just two simple things by adding a little bit of ink blending and some white gel pens to really make that happen. Thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to like and subscribe to catch all my future video tutorials. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.